Sometimes it's necessary to put your loved one in a nursing facility to give them the care that they need. Sometimes it's impossible to give them the level of care that they need at home. However, people should understand that when they do put somebody in a nursing facility, that the nursing facilities then have to follow the rules and regulations of those agencies that are paying for that person to stay there. So Medicare and Medicaid is usually the two payer sources that are paying for somebody to reside at a nursing facility, whether it's short-term or long-term, even if they're there just for short-term rehab. If somebody were to have a decline in the amount of food that they were intaking or the weight that they were exhibiting, then the nursing facility would actually be required by these government programs to make a referral to psychiatry. And in that case, the loved one is very at risk to be put on a psych drug. It's actually almost like they're being funneled into it, unfortunately. And the risks that are involved in psych drugs are very severe for your loved one. In occupational therapy, I get to see the results of somebody who's been on psych drugs prior to being on the psych drugs and afterwards, and what the effects are on that person's function and on their mentation. And I can tell you that, especially somebody's awareness goes far down after being on a psych drug. Does it make somebody eat better? Sometimes it does. The reason being for that is that a lot of these psych drugs are actually a synthetic form of cocaine, that they actually take the molecule that is cocaine, the basic molecule, and they might move something around, like you have H2O is water. So there's two hydrogens and one oxygen. So what they do is they can move the hydrogen to the other side of the oxygen, and it's still the same compound of water, but it's actually considered a different compound. So they can actually do that with the different street illegal drugs and make them into psych drugs that they put people on. And so that's actually what people are taking. But it won't improve somebody's function. Even in the short term, you'll see somebody's balance go down because their awareness goes down. They might have a fall, they might break a hip. Because being put on a psych drug, any number of different organs can shut down due to being on the psych drugs. It's really not a solution. It's a very big risk that we take when we put one of our loved ones into a nursing facility. My grandmother had reached a point that she couldn't function at home and required too much assist to transfer, so we did have to move her into a nursing facility. And shortly after she was moved into the nursing facility, I did have a discussion with the main nurse, her main nurse, as well as the secretary on the floor that my grandmother was on. And I let them know that I did not want her to be referred to psychiatry or put on any psych drugs, and that any medicines that they were going to put her on, they needed to get my consent first. That actually didn't end up protecting her as well as I had hoped, and it still ended up happening that she was referred to psychiatry, and without my consent she was put on a psych drug. Now, what I've done since to correct that and what other people could do to protect their loved one is I actually had a discussion with her doctor, and I had an order put on her chart that said, do not refer to psychiatry, do not put on any psych medications, and that they must get my consent before they put her on any medications at all or any treatments at all. One important thing about that is to make sure that you do have a power of attorney. So even if your loved one is quite capable of making their own decisions, it's still prudent to get a power of attorney, go to a lawyer and actually get paperwork signed that one of the family members has a power of attorney. In that way, the nursing facility actually must call the family member and get consent before putting them on that drug or treatment or whatever. Now, this facility was supposed to do that because I did have a power of attorney, and there actually is some follow-up from that because they did break the law by doing that. But to be very safe in protecting your loved one, get a power of attorney, talk to the doctor and the nurse for your loved one, and make sure an order is put on the chart that you do not want any referrals to psychiatry, you do not want them put on any psych drugs, and that you want your consent given to any medicines that this person should be on.